All right, everyone. Once again, thank you so much for joining us for this month's update webinar covering Aruna Resort and Villas here on Ambergris Caye in Belize. My name is Rachel Jensen, broker agent at Realty Belize, based here on Ambergris Caye. We're the exclusive agent for this property and are really excited to tell you about everything that's been going on. You know, these type of webinars or info sessions are probably one of my favorite ones to do because seeing progress within a project is just so unbelievably exciting. And this project started a little bit before I came on board, maybe about a year before I came on board, but it's been neat to see even over the last few months how there's just been an incredible amount of movement forward in getting the phase one of this community completed. So we have a couple of guests who are coming to the property this weekend. They'll be giving it a test run. One of our owners is coming and is going to be staying in their canal front studio. So we're excited for that, for them to get to experience what's going on there. Still a bit of a construction zone, of course, but you know, when you are the owner, it is really neat to be able to come to the property, stay in it even before the whole property opens, right? And get to test it out and see how everything's looking. So with that, I want to give you a quick recap. You know, this really is meant to be more of an update about what's going on. If you want an overview of the entire project, I did a session on that a couple of months ago, and it is up on YouTube, so you're able to capture that. But this is really just more of an update. But I am going to give you a quick overview of what the property is about, and then from there jump into some more of the items that are going on site right now. So this property is located in the Costa del Sol area of Ambergris Caye. So if you're in San Pedro town and you go directly west across the bay, that area is called Costa del Sol. There's an area called Brahma Blue and Test Village and Coconut Cafe that is in with that area as well. And then Aruna is just north of those places I just mentioned. And what I personally really like about this location is that you can take a boat from the heart of the downtown area and be there within 5 minutes, or you can actually drive down from Secret Beach. There is a road that goes from Secret Beach to Aruna. It takes about 10, 12, 15 minutes, depending on how fast of a driver you are. And then you can be right there at Secret Beach. So it is actually accessible by road. You'll up, if you're in town and you want to drive up north, over west, and then down south a little bit to get to this specific project. But I really like that because there's a sense of seclusion here, and you just don't typically find that in a lot of the developments on the island. It feels secluded, yet you are very, very close to town. And that's just something that you normally don't get. If you have that seclusion, you're typically far from town. But this, because it is either accessible by boat or going up and around by golf cart, you have that different feeling there. So this property was really designed to be an area where the sea meets the jungle. That's the tagline here. And the property is on a canal. It's a 1,000-foot canal that goes through the property. There are will likely be 4 phases. We're going to be focusing on phase 1 and phase 2 in the updates here. And then where you can see the green box that says future expansion, this is for future phase 3 and 4. So with that being said, I just want to highlight a couple of points because I'm going to be talking about them throughout the next 20 minutes here. One is this area over here. So this is the area where when you come in by boat, you'll dock right up here, the restaurant bar area, and then a pool in addition. And where you see that octagon, that'll be like a fishing net that hangs over the water for you to just get to enjoy the space. As you walk down the dock over here, you'll be greeted by the beach area. They've started to actually work on the beach. I'll show you some pictures on that in a moment. And then this is the phase 1 area. So phase 1 consists of 1-bedroom and studio models. And then phase 2, if you can follow my cursor, this area, tiny homes, and then larger 2- and 3-bedroom models. So phase 1 is what we're anticipating to have done over the next few months here. And then phase 2, these homes are built on demand and they're actually getting sold fairly quickly. So we are excited to see the phase 2 start to come together as well. So it's a really beautiful property, a bunch of landscaping's going in. Let me get to the slides because that way you'll be able to see it a little bit more. So phase 1 progress. So we're going to just jump right into what's going on in phase 1. So over the last 4 weeks, we did have a couple of holidays here, and it was a little wonky with being a vacation on a Sunday and also a Monday. And I think some people were even taking Saturdays and Fridays off. So there wasn't a ton that happened construction-wise. That was probably pretty standard across the world over those 2 weeks of Christmas and New Year's, but there was progress regardless. So when I just follow my cursor here as I talk. So there are 4 studios right over here, and we call these the Bayside Studios. These Bayside Studios are furnished at this point, and we are in the process of installing the roofs. We're changing the roofs up a little bit to be more pointed, just for more efficiency's sake, and you can start to see that a little bit over here. but we have started that process and we'll continue down the line as we go. The canal front homes are about 80% ready for the owner use. I mentioned we have an owner coming this weekend, so they'll be able to stay in their bayfront studio. And at that point, it's about 80% ready. In addition to that, we've finalized the landscaping plans during these sessions here. We've talked to you quite a bit about the landscaping and really having it be more of a jungle environment. As you can tell from the picture here, there's a bunch of landscaping that does need to be done. Some has been started. It is still a construction zone, so we're just picking and choosing what we want to do at this point so that we don't put anything in just to be taking it out down the line. But you can see there's a lot of a lot of green, a lot of mangrove, a lot of around. But to really capture that jungle setting, we're going to be putting more of the palms in and larger green, lush plants. In addition to that, the water systems were completed. So obviously we're having some guests this weekend. It is very important to have the water, the waste, all there. One of the other points that is fairly important when people are coming is the internet, and that has been installed and is functioning as well. The electrical work. So of course you need to have lights on, functioning lights, and that has been completed in the current homes too. And then the beach area has been started. So again, follow my cursor. You'll get off the dock or get off the boat onto the dock, walk down the dock. These little areas will have lounge chairs and those lounge beds so that you're able to just relax out there. So you continue on down the dock, the 4 bayfront studios. And then the beach area will be in this area right over here. So this is the south side. If you're looking for directions, this is the south side, north, and then east, and then west over here. So the road to Secret Beach I mentioned goes at the end of the canal. Is a 1,000-foot canal, and then goes up towards Secret Beach. So a bunch actually has been worked on over the last few weeks, and a lot of that is necessary in terms of utilities, getting all that up and operating and working. So we have been furnishing the bayfront rooms, the bayfront studios, as you can see here. I think you've probably seen this sort of model shown quite a bit, but this model is the standard studio, the standard layout for the studio model. As you can tell, there's tons of natural light that comes in. We're in the process of, this is actually gonna be done today, of getting the curtain rods and putting the curtains up. But personally, what I really like about these studios are the ceilings, having that wood there with the white beam, I think just breaks it up really nicely. And then also these the windows here, these rooftop windows, or at the top of the walls. I think it's just really stunning. And so with these ones, obviously they look out towards the bay. And I mentioned to you how close this property is to town. And you can see actually right over here, this is the downtown area. So it's really convenient if you ever just need to hop into town in just a few minutes. I'm going to show you a quick video of what's going on within the studio. So this is just a video of that studio that I was showing you before. A lot of the wooden features, like that little table there, and then also the headboard, and then the end tables, are also locally made here in Belize on Ambergris Caye. There's a group called Granelle's Dreamland. They do incredible woodworking if anybody's ever looking for just custom wood pieces, and it just is absolutely incredible. They do just a really, really remarkable job. So I mentioned to you the beach. So you can start to see it a little bit. They're bringing in sand. You can start to see piles there, but there is going to be that beach area right out here for people to enjoy the bay. And it's quite shallow out there, so you'll be able to just sit in an inner tube if you want and enjoy some beverages. All right, I'm going to show you some more. So I have 2 videos from 2 different bathrooms, both within the studio models. They're at different stages of being completed, but just wanted to give you more of a feel of what it's like. So this is from the top floor bayfront, and you can see that there's the nice sitting area out there. And what's nice too, so this model I mentioned is really the model that's being used for the studios. And so even against the canal, these canal front studios have this layout here. And what's nice about the canal ones is that you have this really nice veranda that just overlooks the canal. And I'll show you that in just a couple of minutes as we drive by as well. And so here's just another bathroom. This is in the downstairs model. You can see it's not as completed yet, doesn't have the mirrors in, but just gives you perspective of how it'll start to look on the interior. So a lot of the local wood is used, and it just really creates this beautiful element. Again, this is custom made by Granelle's and just has a really nice feel to it. So I'm going to go through this little video. I showed one, I think, before as we drove through the canal, but there has been some updates. You can see here that they're working on the roofs, also bringing in the sand for the beach area. I'm going to just turn that down there. Okay. And as we continue down the canal, I'm going to point out a couple of the models to you so you can see. So there's that bay front, the fourplex. And then as we continue down the canal over here, this model right over here could be, oops, I'll continue that. That model can be, get to it a little bit more. Okay. Can be either, so let me just pause that when I get too close. Okay, great. Oh my goodness. Sorry, guys. So that model over there, that first one right over here, this can be either a 1 bedroom or 2 studios. And then the remaining down the line over here are indeed studios. We have 1 canal front studio remaining at this point. But what's really nice about these, and I mentioned that as earlier, is that it really has this nice veranda here overlooking, and it's like an overhang deck. So when you're standing on the deck, it just feels like you are over water, which you are, and has a really unique feeling. I just haven't found anything else on the island like this before, which is one of the big reasons I wanted to be working with this company directly. So we were doing a drive-by down the canal, and then it was also funny yesterday when we were on site. There was a group of expats who live here who just arrived by bike. So they drove up to Secret Beach and then drove over and then drove down to us, and they were trying to get down to the southern part of the peninsula over here. And so you can see them as they're riding their bikes. There was a little bit of a pool over here, but they're going through and taking their bikes down to the southern part of the peninsula. So I thought that was pretty funny to see. All right, so within phase 2, there were 2 new sales. There was a T15, which is a tiny home model, and then C25, which is they chose to do a 3-bedroom. Within phase 2, these can either be 2 or 3-bedroom models. It doesn't matter, just what depends on your preference. And so this owner chose for that to be a 3-bedroom model. And then we will be beginning construction on these 4 over the next couple of weeks, these 4 homes. So 3 tiny homes and then 1 3-bedroom will be here. So I know for some people, they need to physically see a model in order to conceptualize it. Some people I know they can look at renderings and floor plans and just have it come together. So if you're one of those people that need to physically see it, I'd say by the end of this year, you'll be able to walk through a tiny home and then also a 3-bedroom there. So I mentioned to you on our last session that the pontoon was here. I have to say the pontoon has been fantastic as we are going across the bay to go from the project over to San Pedro town. This is from our visit right before Christmas, just to check on the progress. And it was really nice, like our own private sunset cruise as we were going across. So over the next 4 weeks, we're really going to be completing a lot of the items that we anticipated to have done, over the last month. But of course, the holidays got in the way a little bit, but just putting those finishing touches on the existing unit. So you saw we need to do the curtain rods in the rooms, also put the mini fridges in, because each of the studios does have a kitchenette there with a mini fridge and microwave and coffee pot and all of that. Also, when you have wooden homes, there's a bit of maintenance that needs to be done on them. This is something that is understood. HOA is going to be covering it for existing homeowners, but doing stuff like oiling the rails and the doors and all of that. All of the wood really does need to be maintained, and that is being done already. Also, setting up the back of the house. A lot of this, actually, the setting up of the back of the house has been completed as they've been doing electric and septic and all of that. Continuing remaining staging, we really just have the canal homes at this point to finish when it comes to furnishing. And then we've also started this already, but we painted the San Pedro office that we have. It's located right there at the dock where we catch the boat to get over to Aruna. But hopefully if you're down here in the next month, we'll have an office for you to meet us in. In addition to that, the pier, so you saw in one of the pictures, there's the pier which has the restaurant, the bar area, and then also the pool. So the goal really is to get that completed over the next, I'd say 4 to even 8 weeks. With that, it is going to take a little bit more time, but putting rope up on the railings, we don't want people to be accidentally having too many cocktails and falling off the side. So getting the railing up there. Also the rooftop deck, which is going to be beautiful, and it'll be more of a yoga area lounge, which will be really nice to watch the sunrise and the sunset. And then also there on the pier is finishing up the bathroom. Beach area, we've started to work on this, as I mentioned to you before, but putting the sand down, getting that area really cleaned up, and then adding more landscaping. So our targets for the next month is to have the rest of the canal front homes ready for owner use. We have the one I mentioned to you, it's about 80% for those owners who are coming down this weekend with a few of their friends who are looking at properties within Aruna. In addition to that, as I mentioned to you, we'll have the phase 2 home starting. This will probably be towards the end of January, really. And then I mentioned to you in our last session that there's going to be a phase 1 home price increase because there wasn't as much progress as we hoped during the last month with the holidays. We are going to be pushing that since February. So if you're somebody who's been looking at Aruna, I know a handful of you who've been on here have been looking for a while. So hopefully you do keep that in mind so that you're not paying more, as we do have the increase coming in February. And then come March, having those amenities that I mentioned to you, the pool, restaurant over the dock, having those be ready. And then the gardens homes ready for use, for owner use as well. So and I'll pull the map up again just to show you where the gardens homes are. And then something else we're working on is the mangrove restoration, because as you could see, let me even just go back to that video one more time. Give me a minute here. Okay, so I'm going to just continue here. So as you can see, as we go down the property over here, there's the white lattice that really covers, the under home utility area. But along the canals over here, instead of doing lattice, we want to do the mangroves instead. Mangroves are really integral parts of the environment and the ecosystem. And as you saw from the other pictures, there are a bunch of mangroves around. And so including that, incorporating it back into the design to really have this be that jungly gardens feel, I think will be a pretty neat feeling. Some questions that I've had, I know we're not at the questions point yet, but I thought of it, is boats. If you are somebody who's planning to bring a boat in, do note that it needs to be fairly shallow because of the access to get to this property. We really wouldn't recommend it being more than 20 feet long, but it is possible to dock your boats under your house. All right, so coming back here to the master plan. So we really covered a lot of phase 1, phase 2. I mentioned to you that we'll be starting construction in the next few weeks here. And if you do come to the property to look at it, I know there were some people who were really just trying to understand the scope of phase 2 and what has been done. At this point, it is just land. We do have the land surveyed for the larger homes over here to know where those will get built. But at this point, it really is just land. Where we would be looking at is more of the phase 1 amenities. So I'm going to show you a couple of the floor plans and the renderings just to jog your mind about what it is that we're doing over here. So the gardens the gardens and canal front suites in the studio. So this is what we did a lot of the walkthroughs through previously. And in the floor plan here, this is one of the original floor plans, altered a little bit during the construction period. But you climb up here, or you go up the stairs here, and then you have a really nice veranda. We extended the veranda here to the end of the house. So you have a really large veranda space for you to enjoy. And this is over the overhanging deck that I mentioned earlier. And then this is very much so like we saw previously with the interior. We saw when we walked in, and we saw the interior of the bedroom, and then there is the bathroom area over here. The kitchenette that I was mentioning to you, the kitchenette is in this area right over here, double vanity in the bathroom, really large shower that overlooks the canal. And then, so this is something I wanted to mention because I had a couple of folks reach out after the last one, and I think there was just a little bit of confusion. So this model over here, this is what we call the Sky 6 model. And technically it's 2 studios that have a connecting door between. So it can be rented out as 2 studios, 2 individual studios, or it could be rented out together if there's a family, like a young family or friends that are traveling together. There are kitchenettes, follow my cursor, there are kitchenettes in both of the models. So you do have that access. This model also has an extended deck here. So it goes all the way around, and there could be a divider there if you do choose to have them be 2 individual studios. So these, I think, if you're looking for an investment property, this is probably one of the best options because in a sense, it's like a duplex, right? You can live in one or occupy one while you have a guest in the other, or rent them both out. And these are starting at about $250. And the nice part is that the furniture is included. So you don't have to worry about the furniture package. You don't have to worry about buying anything extra for it. It is all included in here. Comprehensive HOA of $300 a month. If you want any specific details, please reach out to me because I know that we only have a limited amount of time here. But what some people have opted to do is make where was the original studio a full kitchen. So as we were driving by earlier on the boat, and I pointed out the one that said this is the 1 bedroom or the 2 studios, that's this one here that we're talking about. And we've actually left this one unfinished on the interior because we want to give folks the option to decide if they want to do the full kitchen or if they want to keep it as 2 studios. If you want to do the full kitchen, there is an extra charge for that to get all the appliances and all of that. But it is very feasible for this to be that full kitchen for you to have there if you want more of a robust 1 bedroom, we'll say. But I think these are really quite affordable for them being 2 rental options and even for a really nice 1 bedroom on the water. We had a couple of people ask us about adding a rooftop veranda, and you can do that to this model I just showed you here, the Sky 6, or this one here, we call it the Tikal. I'm sorry, I didn't have it written down, but this is the Tikal model, which is the studio. So you can add the veranda to either the Sky 6 or the Tikal, doesn't matter to us, as long as it is along the garden. So let me go back here. So that is something, because these homes here are already constructed. The ones are along the canal. These are the gardens homes that aren't yet constructed. So if you do want a rooftop veranda, there are a couple of structural changes we'll need to make to the rooftop to make that possible. So these here, you cannot add the rooftop, but those along the gardens you can. And so that's another nice advantage that you have if you do opt to be on the garden side over here, because you can add that extra space. And when I was looking at it, I really thought that it was probably one of the best investments on this side, even though you're not on the canal, because you do actually still have bay views as you look out over here. So you can't really tell from this, but you still do have bay views. So let me just show you what the rooftop veranda would look like. This is one of our updates from last time as well. So you'd walk up your stairs over here, and then usually in the other model where you don't have the veranda, you obviously wouldn't have this extra staircase. So all of this would just be the veranda space. But in this case, you'd walk up the stairs, and then you have two tiers of rooftop space. So you have that space over here, but then you also have the rooftop above where the living space is for the studio models. And again, if it's going to be rented as two individual studios, there can be a barrier here to create that space. But otherwise, if you're looking at it from the one bedroom model, you can continue to just keep that open, right? I think that would make sense to keep it open from a one bedroom model perspective. There'll be the sails here where you can add the shade or take the shade off. If you want to sunbathe, you can do that. Or if you want to keep it closed and stay away from the sun, you can certainly do that as well. Now note, this one I see has the canal in the rendering. Ignore the canal there, because this option is only possible on the garden side, because those are not yet constructed. And we are going to be starting the construction of those in the next couple of weeks here, though. So if you do want a rooftop added to your model, then let's get chatting prior to the next couple of weeks here, because they will get started. And once they get started, it'll be more expensive to change the roof, because we will be ordering everything at that point. So just wanted for you to keep that in mind. I want to show you the phase 2 models as well. So these homes are built on demand, which means when you decide that you want to move forward, then we will start the construction of them for you. Whereas phase 1, they're all getting constructed regardless of whether or not they have an owner. So just a little bit different here. The Kokora model, this is a tiny home model. It's quite large though for a tiny home. It's about 670 square feet, has loft space, and there's a 2-bedroom, 2-bath option. And then there is also a 3-bedroom, 2-bath option. And when you add the interior and exterior together, it's about 1,900 square feet for the 2-bedroom, and then about 2,600, 2,300, 2,400 for the 3-bedroom. So they're quite nice. As you can tell by the renderings here, the 2 and the 3 bedrooms will each have their own dipping pool, whereas with the tiny homes and then also the phase 1 homes, those do have the common area pool. So this just gives you a little bit more of the interior. This is from the loft space of the Kokora. That is the tiny home model. Jumping over to the renderings for the 2-bedroom, as you can see, it's more of that open concept shed roof. As you can see over there, we call that a shed roof with the windows here at the top, like we saw with the models in phase 1. And then this is of the Udara, which is a 3-bedroom. So it has a very similar layout in a sense, the Udara and the Tula, but with the Udara, which is the 3-bedroom, we've added an extra bedroom there for those who are looking at 3 bedrooms. Now, if you are a little overwhelmed right now, you have no idea what you're really interested in or which model you should be looking at, I've highlighted a couple of scenarios depending on what situation you may be in. If you're ready for an investment right now, or if you're ready to move in, or you want a place that's done, right? I know a lot of people don't necessarily like to wait. They want a place that's done. I would recommend the Canal Front Studio. This one's going for, I'd say $225 just to round up. Please remember, these don't include closing costs, but $225 to round up. And you can come and stay. Like, we have the owners who are coming this weekend, and it is ready to go. This is also nice because you do have that water view, the canal front right there at your house. Now, if you're looking for a rental, I would say the best option is the 2-studio. That's the Sky 6 model that I showed you, and then adding the rooftop to it. I think the rooftop verandas will go a long way when it comes to rentals. And so if you add the rooftop, which is an additional $22,000, then you're looking at about $272 for 2 rentals on Ambergris Caye, which is, I think, a really great price. And then option number 3, if you're looking for something a little bit larger, I know from the past folks that we've been showing around, they were looking, they're thinking more of their family, and they want something a little bit larger for when their family comes. So they're either looking at the 2 or 3 bedroom models in phase 2. And in that case, you can consider the 2-bedroom, which is starting about $490 plus the furniture. And that one, as I mentioned, is built to order. So just depending on what you're looking for, and I'm going to just show you here, move-in ready would be these homes over here. So R4, this is that studio I mentioned for 225. If you're looking for the best investment, again, these are just my personal opinions, but just from being on site and seeing the demand in the marketplace, I would say R13, this one right over here, would be great, and add that veranda to it, because you still have the bay views, and then also the sunset, right? The sunset, follow my cursor, depends on time of year, but it's around this, I'll go over here, it's around this spot, right? So you have really incredible views of the sunset from these, and you'll also be able to see the sunrise too. Doesn't get much better than that. And then the third option I mentioned is if you are looking for something a little bit larger for your family, then you'll want to look in this area over here or this area over here for the 2 or the 3 bedroom models. So there's a lot to come. If you haven't tuned into the full webinar about this project, I would recommend you do so. There's some really amazing amenities that I just haven't seen in other projects, like drawbridges, which will be walkways, and large stages for entertainment, and cafes on site. And there's just a lot of really great stuff that's getting planned for this community. And one question that I have here is, what is like the expected build out of this property? So I'm going to say, you know, my best guess based on seeing progress so far and the rate of sales, I'm going to guess about 5 years. It could be more than that. It could be less than that, but that's just my personal guess here, to get these 2 phases, and then to be getting these phases over here completed too. Again, like I said, maybe more than that, maybe less than that, but that would be my personal take there. So, you know, something that you do have to consider when you're buying within a property within either phase 1 or phase 2 is that there will be construction happening, you know, down the line. And phase 1 will certainly be open first. We're anticipating over the next few months, and that's why we've really built the phases like we have, so that phase 1, all of the entertainment for phase 1 owners and guests would be in this area over here, right? There is the bar, there's the rooftop yoga platform, there is a nice little octagon shaped fishing net for them to lay in and enjoy the outdoors and the pool and all of that. So it's really been focused and concentrated as we develop. Now, when you're quicker, or when you're joining a project in its earlier phases, right, prior to them having 4, 5, 6 buildings or whatever the case may be, you do tend to be more rewarded in a sense, because you're taking a little bit more of a risk, and also you're just coming in earlier before prices continue to increase. So I always like to encourage folks to look at it from that perspective too, is you have more levels or more opportunity for appreciation if you are getting into a project earlier. And, you know, for me, like I mentioned earlier, my favorite part of this whole process is watching the progress and seeing things get completed and watching renderings come to life. And that's exactly what we're seeing now. And it's been really, really fun and really exciting to do so. So with that, I just wanted to remind you, we have that price increase coming in February next month. I don't have the numbers of what that will be yet, so I can't tell you it's going to be up by 10% or $10,000. I'm not sure of that, but I would highly recommend you reach out prior to February if you want more information. We are going to be doing our next session update February 10th at 2 p.m. Eastern time. We try to do them, and today's a little bit different because we have our big group coming in tomorrow, but we will be doing them on Friday as we move forward. Friday, probably the second Friday of every month, and it'll be at 2 p.m. Eastern time. And even if you don't have the chance to come down and visit us in person, let's do a virtual tour. I'm over at the Aruna site constantly and would love to just show you a little bit more about what's going on and seeing where on site may make sense for you to own. Because you know, pictures and videos are great, but when you see it and you're able to walk around and tell me, all right, go left, go right, go straight, turn around, show me where the sunset is, you know, a lot of that just comes to life a little bit better. But if you are going to be here in person, let me know and we can certainly go over there in person, and would love to show you around. And with that, folks, I know we said this time we'd keep it to a half an hour. We're exactly on the 30-minute mark. So feel free to reach out. I'd love to chat about your options with you, and we can go from there. Bye, everyone. Thank you.